Hey, what up everybody out there in the YouTube internet world? Coming at you with another video. Kind of a weird angle, but I'm just gonna roll with it. Have to set my camera up like this. So haven't been making any videos because I'm pretty much been focused on preparing our family, trying to get in the center of God's will in every area of our life, emotionally, mentally, physically, locationally, every which way. So I spent a lot of time, focusing on stuff like that, but I really felt that some of the stuff that God has shown me and shown others, I've had a lot of confirmation recently through a couple other people that have kind of given prophetic words, even through YouTube, which is surprising because normally I wouldn't follow the advice of somebody, just off of YouTube that I don't know who they are or anything like that. But this person was, his name's Brandon. He's got a YouTube channel called Last Days. Really confirmed a lot of what God has been showing me. So that's kind of how I treat the prophetic. I treat it like, when God's speaking to you something, you see in part, you know in part. And so other people are going to they're going to open up your view even wider of what you're seeing. And they're also going to confirm something that God is showing you or speaking to you about. So let's just get into it. This is going to be a warning for America, is what God is showing me. And He has been speaking this to me for quite a while. The last time I kind of felt like we were on the precipice of some kind of turning event or kind of a major event in our country. I released a video in 2019 about a vision that I had back when I was involved in the occult that actually caused me to become a Christian and whatnot. And now, looking back at it, that event obviously was the whole pandemic thing in 2020. And I think I released that towards the end of 2019. So I had a sense that something was going on. Didn't quite, didn't get a specific word or whatnot. So this video is kind of right in the same alley. I believe that there are some things that are coming in the next couple years that are going to probably make the whole lockdown pandemic thing look like a really small thing. So I am not saying this as that this is I believe that some things are still up in the air, but when it comes to certain events, the way things are going to play out. But I do think that some things are actually sealed right now, because I believe that God has weighed the nation. I believe God has weighed America. I believe He's weighed American cities. I received a word about a year ago about how the Lord basically showed me that He was weighing American cities, and if they sow into death, they're going to receive death. If they sow into life, they're going to receive life. And a lot of what I see what's going on in America, there has to be a reckoning. There's things that remain. The Bible talks about this. Seed, time, and harvest. You are going to reap what you sow. This will remain in place until we enter into a different age and in a different era. And right now, with America, that cup of iniquity, that cup of sin, is reaching a tipping point. And that's what I see. I don't see, the wrath and judgment of God necessarily. I do believe that will come at a certain point upon the whole earth, according to the book of Revelation. But I do see that certain things are actually locked in now. This is going to happen. These are things that we can't pray out of. And I believe there's going to be a great humbling. I do believe, though, that for certain areas that are in prayer, for certain places where Christians are really in the center of God's will, I do believe that there's going to be pockets of Goshen throughout America. And there will be protection, because this is not the Great Tribulation. This is not the wrath of God that's being poured out. So, how did I come to this conclusion? Well, back in 2017, in August, there was a solar eclipse that started around the area of Salem, Oregon type area, and it cut right across America, and it went through the southeast of America. This was a complete solar eclipse. It then is going to be preceded by 7 years later, which is next year, on April of 2024. There's going to be another solar eclipse. This one is going to start in the northeast of the country, and it's going to go down through the southwest. It makes a perfect X, and I will leave a link to a video of a man of God named Steve Cicolanti, who has spoken a lot about this. Not just him, but this is a factual thing that's going on. You can look all these things up for yourself. This is nobody's opinion. So it makes an X across the country, which in the Paleo Hebrew is the letter for the word sign. So in Genesis chapter 1 verse 14, he places the stars in the sky as signals, as signs. And also it shows you appointed times, like the Moed, the feasts. Things line up, and there are warnings, there are signals, and there are appointed times that are revealed by how the nature of how the stars are aligning for a particular area or time period. I do not think that this is some kind of coincidence that within a 7-year span we have 2 solar eclipses that are literally crossing over the country, making an X, which is literally the Paleo Hebrew for sign. And like I said in Genesis 1:14, just the stars alone are signs and signals. So what does this mean? Well, after a lot of prayer, after a lot of looking into historical stuff of how things go within the Word of God, I think it's very clear. I believe during these last 7 years, America has been weighed. I believe a lot of American cities have been weighed, just like it says in the book of Daniel. In Daniel chapter 6, talks about how the ruler at that time, what's his name, Belshazzar, he was being weighed, and he was found wanting, he was found lacking, because he was not righteous, and he was doing things with the vessels of God and drinking wine out of them, and a lot of idolatry. Well, the very same thing is happening here in America. There has been given a time, I believe, in these 7 years for a lot of people to repent, to try to get their life right. That's what I've been trying to do. There's a lot of trial and tribulation that I went through with when I got married to my wife. We went through custody battles with her ex-husband. There's been all sorts of trials and tribulations, and it's been really hard. It's been a rough season these last 10 years. But at the end of it, I'm thankful. I love my wife, and I love my family, and we've gotten through it all. But guess what? There's some battle wounds that are involved in that. There's some things that I needed to deal with in my life, and so that's what I've been focusing on a lot more, is spiritual preparedness, physical preparedness for what is to come, because everybody needs to be in the right place, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and in the location that you're supposed to be. So for us, we're going to relocate. I live in the state of Washington right now. I almost moved a couple years ago, but I didn't feel like that was the right time. I felt like God wanted us to stay there. But now I feel like the Lord has released us to go somewhere else, and that's for our family specifically. I wouldn't say that this is a general word to Christians in Washington, that you're supposed to just leave. I don't believe that at all. I believe that each person, people are in different seasons, and people need to be in different spots based off of the will of God for what is to come in this next season. So back to the solar eclipses. Those 7 years was a time to prepare. Just like I believe, the 7 years of plenty when Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dream, they stocked up for 7 years. And then there was 7 years of famine. I do believe that after next year, after 2024, I do believe that America is going to enter into a great famine. And I'm not just talking about a famine of we're not going to be able to grow food in America. I'm talking about a spiritual famine. Like I heard Brandon talk about how many people, he heard the word Ichabod during this period of time. That many people are going to feel like that the glory of God has departed from America. And that is what it's going to look like. But really the way I see it is, it's not that the glory of God has departed. It's that gross darkness is upon this country and deep darkness is upon the people. But the glory of the Lord will arise upon you who are in the secret place of the Most High, who is abiding and dwelling and being and staying full of the Spirit of God. So that's where I'm at currently. Is I want to be one of those people, because the glory is not going to depart from those people. The darkness is going to get greater in America. There's going to be a severe famine that's going to affect all different things. A financial famine. There's going to be a famine of peace and security. There's going to be, I believe, more of pestilence, which very well could be much, much worse than anything we saw during the whole 2020 thing. So Brandon also speaks about that. He's been given some prophetic visions, and of course he comes at it from the angle of an intercessor, to pray against these things. And we should be praying against these things, because some things don't have to happen. Okay, you saw that when Abraham stood in the gap for Sodom and Gomorrah, and I believe that there are at least 10 righteous in many parts of America. So I do not see the full destruction of America coming. What I do see, though, is a great humbling that is going to come after 2024. I believe that whatever happens upon the election next year is really going to set the tone for the next 7 years. And I don't see it going well. I don't have a specific word from the Lord, but I do believe that, for instance, I do believe that certain people are going to continue to stay in power in the country. I think most likely Michelle Obama is probably going to be the president of next year. Like I said, not a prediction from the Lord. That's just my sense that I get. I don't believe that Trump is going to be allowed to be president. And I don't think any of that even matters at the end of the day anyway, because the country as a whole needs to be humbled. So this humble, like I'm gonna tell you right now, I've been preparing in one form or another for the last, I want to say about 12 or 13 years for this coming season in America, these next 7 years in America. I've been preparing for this for quite a while, spiritually, mentally, and physically. A lot of people would probably call me some kind of a prepper or whatever. And it takes a while to be able to become self-sufficient when it comes to your own, personal protection, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to all sorts of different things. Being able to provide food for yourself and not have to get it from grocery stores and whatnot. All of these things take time. And the people that haven't been preparing, man, I really feel like they're gonna get wrecked, to put it bluntly. I think a lot of people in the church are gonna get wrecked because they're expecting God to just, I don't know, like pour out manna, on their front lawn or whatever when they can't get food anymore. Now that may happen, but what I would say is, if that's not happening right now in your life, what makes you think that all of a sudden, at the snap of your fingers, God's going to start pouring out manna? So, if you're not preparing with medical, right? Getting your own first aid, and I'm not like my own little hospital, but I foresee a period of time where I'm going to need to provide my own protection and my own medical. I believe in supernatural healing. I've seen lots of supernatural healing, okay? But guess what? Our family still uses, medical stuff. So unless, let's say somebody's bleeding to death, unless you are able to right now, with the authority of God, close that wound and stop that bleeding, what makes you think that in a time of crisis that you're going to be able to do that? So I would say that right now, the time of preparation is closing. And you need to understand that if you're not living in it now, you're not walking in it now, you're not going to be walking in the future. The thing the Lord showed me many years ago is that there would come a period of time in America where I saw people trying to build a house in the middle of a hurricane. I saw a hurricane going on, hurricane force winds, and I saw people up there with, you know, hammers and everything, and they're trying to build a house in the middle of it. And the Lord was telling me that, like, now's the time to build. Before the storm, that's when you build, not during the storm. So I am giving a warning to you that spiritually, mentally, physically, everything, now is the time to get prepared and to continue to be prepared. I would say test this word. Go look up these solar eclipses. Go look up what happens to nations when these kind of signals are given by God. I'll leave the links for Brandon and all of the different prophetic words that he's seen. And look into these things. Pray about it. This is not about fear. This is not about, you know, hoarding stuff and so you can survive. No. This is about being in the center of God's will and being prepared to be able to thrive in this next season. But understand what this next season really is. That's what people, I really feel like, are sleeping on it. We've been lulled to sleep here in America. It's very easy to just not understand the reality and the nature of things in this country. There's too many distractions. So I just encourage you, look into these things, take this warning seriously, begin to prepare, and understand the season that you are. Be like the sons of Issachar. Understand the times that you are living in. And I do believe, though, this is not doom and gloom either. Like I said, I do believe the glory of the Lord will arise on a certain people, and I do believe in the midst of all of this, there will be great revival in the midst of this great darkness. So I'll come back with some other words as the Lord kind of puts it on me, but that's the basic thing right now that I could tell you. Look into these other YouTube channels, these other people that I believe are the Lord speaking through, and God bless you. Have a great day.